our very first opportunity to excel. Okay. In this module, you get a lot of opportunity to participate. And I love that about this session for us all. Before we dive into this, I want to remind everyone that before we eat, we set the table. And that applies when we're talking about the GED reading as well. Okay. So before I sit down to eat and start reading this passage, I look at the title. I look at anything that is at the very tip top because it's going to give me some context for what's about to come next. So as I'm looking at this, it says this is taken from Forklift Safety Guide. Okay, it's from the Forklift Safety Guide, which, sorry, but I'm like, oh God, like, oh, forklift safety, don't use too many forklifts. Okay, but maybe I'll learn a thing or two. So let's dive right in. But it also like puts my mind a certain way. Like you're going to be telling me about things I need to be safe, things I need to do in order to be safe using a forklift. Okay, so that's great. That's very, very helpful. In fact, sometimes from a title, we can get everything we need to know to answer a main idea question. Now, that is not to say don't continue reading because we want all the points, of course. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to talk to you about just how to sort of read and take a few notes. But I'm not going to read to you because you all know how to read, and I'm no better at it than you are. So I'm going to pause for just a bit, and I just want you to read what's here on the screen. So if you're following along in the PDF, excuse me, just go ahead and read this one little bit. It will continue on. The rest of the paragraph will be on the next slide, or we'll continue on in the PDF, but just read the first paragraph for me. Okay. Everyone good with the first paragraph? You can put a B or a D in chat. Those are my thumbs up, or you can say done. Yeah, you can use an emoji to tell me you're done. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. What's this first paragraph all about? If you just had to summarize it really quickly, like just what's the gist? What's a few words about this? What notes would you take if you were taking notes next to this paragraph? Yes, forklift not equal to cars. Yes, yes, forklifts are not cars. I'm loving it. Great. That's exactly right. Good. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So when we do our notes, we want to just be like very like up on the balcony as we look at this. We read a lot like rear end swing, blah, 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 like all the actual details. I just want to know what paragraph do I go back to if they're like, tell me two reasons why a forklift is not like a car. I'm like, where was that? What paragraph? And I'm like, oh, yes, my notes tell me that is in paragraph number 1. Okay. Any other notes that you guys would put? What primarily makes a forklift not like a car? What'd you guys say? This was a learning experience for me, by the way, when I first read this. I'm like, the wheels are in the rear and spins around. I don't know that I had ever paid too much attention to how a forklift operates. I know when I go to Lowe's, I get away from the beeping noise because I'm like, that is not the aisle I need to be in. Yes, steering is different. Yeah, exactly. Steers from the rear, right? Yeah, exactly. Good, good, good. Okay, well done. Honestly, yes, and I love that the space to chart. Yeah, this has got like we need some place to maneuver, right? So what I'm just demonstrating on this slide is that you just need a few notes, just a few notes. It's sort of be like if I had to go back and figure out like what paragraph I read something in so that I could go seek my answer out when I'm asked it on the GED, I know what paragraph to go to. So well done. Great job on that one. Great. All right. And then as someone already put, yes, Levine, you put into chat, yes, we need clear aisles, right? We need to keep those, talks about marking them and keeping them marked and all this, but yeah, I got to have some space. Great job. All right. So what I would like for you to do is do the same things for paragraphs 2 and 3 right now. So I'll go off camera and then I'll just wait for you all to tell me that you're done reading paragraphs 2 and 3 and taking the quickest, shortest amount of notes possible, either on your scratch piece of paper or on the PDF. Okay. And then we'll reconvene and we'll see what we all came up with. Good luck. Lots of you finishing up. Awesome. Okay, so what's important about paragraph 2? Why did I include that if I was the author of this forklift safety guide? What do I want you to know by putting paragraph number 2 in here? Okay, so paragraph 2 is about the responsiveness, right? Yes, when the steering wheel is turned, good luck to us all, right? Okay, I don't want to be driving this thing too fast, and I don't want to be going around a corner too fast because it's not going to be good for anybody. Yes, there you go. Good, good, good. Those would be my, let me get my slide. There we go. That would be my notes on this one. That's exactly right. So remember when you're taking notes, it's just real quick notes to be like, if you're asked a question, what paragraph do you go back to? What about paragraph number 3? I had to do this in my mind's eye. Like, let me think about this. If I'm a forklift and I'm going downhill, right? Like I'm thinking about the payload that I'm carrying here. Yes. Okay. Right. Good, good, good. Yes. I got incline dangers, as my slide says. Incline dangers, right? Like, girl, don't you know it? I got some incline dangers. Yes. Okay, that's exactly right. Oh, I went one too far. That's exactly right. There's this whole thing about, oh, I could lose control and I could lose all my lumber right there on the road. And I don't want to do that. That's the cleanup is messy. It's just, I'm going to be on the news. It's going to be bad. Good. It's about the date, right? Specifically the dangers about like how if I'm going up or down the hill, like I got to make sure that I've got my weight in a very certain spot. Good. That's exactly right. Good job. How about paragraph number 4? We'll read that really fast. I'll stay on camera for that one. And you're going to tell me super quick what your notes are for paragraph 4. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good job. All right. So the load is going to impair the view, right? So I got to keep that in mind. Like, where's the load at? I might not be able to see over it. What about if I'm going in the reverse? Yes. Achtung, right? The German word for like beware, be careful, right? Yes, using that extra caution. Good. You don't have to convince me. You've already told me all these different perils associated with forklift driving and explain like what I have to do to mitigate them, right? You've given me multiple examples. Thank you for the forklift safety guide, right? Thank you for sharing this information with me. Okay, we are at the opportunity to excel. We're going to do question number 1 together, and then I am going to go ahead and turn you loose, and you guys will be able to answer in a poll. But for now, let's try this first question together. Now, what I always recommend when I teach this is to, when as soon as I first read a question, is this part that I have shaded out, pretend that shading is much darker than it is, and you can't just see through it like that. Pretend it doesn't exist there. When I read the question, I should just stop at the question. I really should not continue on and start reading all the answer choices. And I will tell you why. Because my mind does not technically differentiate between legit passage that I just read about the forklift safety guide and all of these little answer choices. And so I start putting this information in like, I just read this information. It is much better for me as I progress through all the questions I'm going to be asked, if my mind stays just very focused on only the forklift hiring guide. As such, I don't want a lot of extraneous wrong answer choices floating around in my cerebral soup. Okay. Because then I'm like, was that a bad answer choice from question one? Or did I read that in the forklift safety guide? I'm not sure anymore. So I like to, when it's a paper test, put my hand over the answers. And on this, just look at the top part. I only focus on the question. Which of the following best describes the author's purpose? Here is where my notes pay off because I can just look at my notes and be like, oh, I got this. And I make a prediction in my mind. I get an idea of what I'm looking at in my mind before I ever go looking for it in the answer choices. And at that point, it just becomes an opportunity to match things up. Okay. So let's look at the notes we took together. We came up with together, right? Forklift is not a car, steers from the rear. I need a bunch of clear aisles, like aisles. I need a bunch of space when I'm driving one of these things. It's not a responsive, so don't go fast. There's incline issues, right? You got to pay attention. And load impairs view. Be careful before you start driving this thing. Can you see over the lumber? Is it behind you? Is it going to mess you up when you're looking behind you? All right. So the author is telling us, be careful, beware. A whole forklift has all kinds of issues. And here's how we go about making sure they don't become issues for us. And I have to call that Allstate man. Okay. So get an idea in your head of what you're looking for. You can take it from all that stuff I just said. And then let's go look for the right answer. Miguel, you bring up a brilliant point. The title of the passage was what? Do you guys remember? What's the title of the passage? Safety. They told us what it was excerpted from, right? Yeah, from the forklift safety guide. Why do I keep saying hiring? Like I'm hiring a forklift. I don't have any idea. Yeah, safety and forklift driving. Good. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the answer choices. And all I'm doing is I am matching up the prediction in my head with the correct answer. Okay, I'm trying to go down it. I'm like, is it A? If it's not A, gone. Okay, if it's not B, gone. Go ahead, write in chat. And when you find the match to your prediction, just put it in chat for this time. I know many people are like, don't put answers in chat. For this first one, we absolutely can. Good, good, good. Yes, yes. Good, good, good. It is. Yes, good. You guys are on it. Yes, that's exactly right. It is C. Okay. Let me tell you where you're going to see wrong answer choices when you come up upon a what's the author's purpose or what's the main idea. Wrong answers on GED RLA, okay, and in like the GED and the SAT, like lots of standardized tests, wrong answer choices will just draw from a little example, like a piece of the pie. But remember, when we're talking about the author's purpose, it has to cover the whole enchilada. Okay, we have to see the author's purpose in like every single paragraph. It all adds up. It's rowing all in the right direction. One main purpose, one theme, right? Good. C is the correct answer. Well done. Well done. Well done. Okay, we're going to continue on with your amazing success. We're going to put up a poll. Teacher Colleen will grab that because she's amazing. She does all the levers behind the scenes, which helps me out so much. We'll throw up a poll. You're going to read question number 2. You're going to formulate an idea in your mind. Okay. Now this one's a little bit more granular, a little less like balcony looking down, if you will. So you might have to go back to the passage for this one to find the right answer. All well and good. And when you find it, vote in the poll and I'll come back on camera and we'll chat about it. All right, everybody. My general rule of thumb for answering in the poll, so I keep pace with the class, is when we have about like 70% participating, because I understand like people are like, lady, I'm on my phone in my car. I get it. Not everyone's able just to do this, even though you might be participating in the class. So I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. There you go. Okay. Got some folks voting. Good, good, good. 71% of you voting. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good. I'm going to end the poll. All right. I will tell you, let me share this with you. Majority of you voted for A, and that is actually the correct answer. A is actually the correct answer. Now, if you did not get A, that's cool because here we are and we are learning in here. Okay. When they, on the GED, when it says something like, which of these things does the author draw a contrast? They are asking you a very detailed question. They are asking for you to be able to go back to the forklift safety guide and be able to put your finger on that exact thing. That looks weird, right? Because my background's blurred out. There we go. Right? I am asking for you to be able to find it for me. You have to show me where it is at in the forklift hiring guide. True story, when I was reading through these the very first time before I started teaching this, right? And I was like, oh, it makes sense to me about like the turning radius of forklift. Sure enough, the author never actually mentions like forklift versus car, probably because I don't drive a lot of cars in the middle of a warehouse, right? And he didn't need to make that point. But he sure enough talks about driving a forklift and driving a car. And he draws a contrast. I'm looking for him where he exactly says, like, this is not that. And he does say it. He does say it for us. Okay. As we actually put it in our notes when we took our little notes there. Okay. If the author does not specifically state it, it is not going to be your correct answer on a question that is granular, that is detail oriented like this. Okay. So here we are pivoting from something that's main idea where I have to take into account the entire passage. And on a question like this, where I'm like going very like, I'm landing the drone on a very specific spot on the map, right? And I'm like right there, I can point to it. Okay. I can tell you what paragraph and what line. So if that doesn't make sense, reach out to us. Okay. But this is the difference between high level main idea questions and detail questions.